Hello, everybody, and welcome to a rather odd video where I'm going to be addressing two camps of thought. I haven't seen these everywhere, but they're two ideas that I would like to address because they have validity to these concerns. Now, the first camp when it comes to my potential reviewing of the Wheel of Time TV show when it comes out is saying Daniel's going to be way too lenient. We've seen him be very positive on the casting and a couple other things. Therefore, he's just going to be way too positive for the show as a whole, and he won't be able to get over his fanboying. And the second camp over here is the polar opposite. It's Daniel won't be able to forget his die-hard love of Robert Jordan's writing. He won't be able to look objectively at the adaptation of the Wheel of Time and forget all the baggage of being a fan and just judge it as a TV show. Those are two very valid concerns, I believe. Like, I'm a massive Wheel of Time fan who certainly does have Wheel of Time goggles on at times, and so I could see the concern of, well, maybe Daniel's reviews for this show are going to be biased hackery or just completely over-analytical, way too comparing to the books trash. I get it. That seems like a really valid concern for me. What I can promise you is no matter what, I'm going to do my best at doing my job. Like, this is my job. I've been doing it for years now, and I know how to formulate a decent review. And I also know when I've done a bad job and usually can correct course. So I'm not going to promise perfection out the gate, but I do promise I'll try and improve every single time. But to address these issues, right, let's go ahead and tackle that first one. I'm going to be way too positive. I won't be able to be critical and, etc., etc., etc. I'm certain no matter what I do, there's going to be people who think this, unless I just completely and utterly trash the show. There are going to be people who say Daniel's too positive regardless. All I'm going to say for this first school of thought is, trust me, there are going to be plenty of things I will be highly critical of for the Wheel of Time show because I want Robert Jordan's vision done justice. I really, really do. To the point where I just made a 45-minute video going over all the reasons why I don't think it's been violated yet unnecessarily or in some drastic, disgusting way like some people were putting forward. But believe me, I will be very critical if I see things that I view as a betrayal. But those will be subjective opinions, right? I'm not Robert Jordan, and I'm just doing my best as a fan to interpret what he believed in. And I also am just going to be valuing it based off of, am I entertained? Like, that's going to be a very big factor for me, and that kind of jumps into that second camp of thought as well, right? Like, trust me, yes, I am going to be looking for Robert Jordan's vision. I am going to be trying to look to doing justice to this series for its entertainment value, and I'll be trying to look at it for, okay, is it doing justice to this source material? But for sure, the biggest factor for me going through this show is going to be, am I entertained? Is this quality content inspired by the Wheel of Time? There's a chance that I will be very positive on the show, but say it's a bad adaptation of Wheel of Time. There's also a chance of the flip side of that, where I'll say, it's a pretty great adaptation of the Wheel of Time, but it's presented poorly and I'm not entertained. There's also another chance that both will be bad, and I'm hoping the final chance will be what happens, which is all of it's great. It's a great adaptation of the Wheel of Time and I'm thoroughly entertained. I'm aware these are all different factors, and I'm going to try to address them very analytically, while keeping my personal opinions in there, because that's why you're coming to the channel, right? That's why you're coming to watch my review. You care about what I have to say, and you want to be a part of the conversation that happens here within the community. So just be aware that I'm aware of these concerns you all are bringing to my awareness. So hopefully what I'm about to say will convince a lot of you I'm going to do service to all sides of this concern. And so it's going to be difficult to address the concerns of all sides of this, right? Well, to help accomplish that, I've decided to do 2 reviews for every episode. There's going to be the immediate review, which is going to be much more of just the, how am I enjoying this as a TV show? It's going to, of course, touch on elements of Wheel of Time, but I'm not going to speculate about the rest of the series and do a spoiler-filled, like, full Wheel of Time deep dive for this first review. I'm going to talk about what was presented to us in this episode and not care about the rest of the series and just value it from there. What did they change? We can talk about that a little bit, but I'm not going to speculate on what is going to happen down the road as a result. I'm just going to value the episode that video is covering. Now, the second video, the one that'll probably be out a few days later after I write up my thoughts, do some prediction, do some thinking about it, will be a comprehensive look at, okay, this is a spoiler-filled, for the whole Wheel of Time, look at the choices they made for this episode and why. So we're gonna have a 1-2 punch there, right? We're gonna have a spoiler-filled for that episode review, because I don't really believe in doing spoiler-free reviews for an episode of television. Like, if you haven't watched it, just go watch it. But it's not going to have spoilers for the whole of Wheel of Time. Then we're going to have a second review, and this one will be a review through the lens of the ultra Wheel of Time fan that I am and talk about the changes, talk about the implications, and try and predict out the waves they set up and possibly why. And I don't want to be overly like angry or, cynical. I will try and speculate how these changes could work out, whether I like them or not. I'll tell you flat out if I like them or not. But I'll try and justify and give my odds on whether or not that could work out. I'm also probably going to be a little bit forgiving for the first couple seasons because it's a bit crazy as a critic to judge a change they've made in season 1 for a plot line that isn't even resolved until like book 6, right? Like, okay, yeah, they've done something different, but maybe because they're, changing mediums, as we've talked about here repeatedly on the channel, they needed to make that change. And so I'll probably be forgiving, and I'll admit that at first, but I'll be critical, and I will point them all out. I will go through and go, this is different, 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 and tell you how I feel about them, gut instinct, and be open to being proven wrong or right. Now, that first review, the one that's just covering the episode, obviously is going to perform better here on YouTube, right? Like that's going to be the one that people watch a lot more. And I do very much so encourage the fans of the Wheel of Time who have read the series when watching those videos, please keep your comments on those spoiler free. We're still like a year out from the show when I'm talking about this. But in like the grand scheme of the life of the Wheel of Time, since first publication to when we're about to get the show, we're right there. We're in like arm's reach. We're like a year out. That, sorry for this weird cut in, but like that just kind of hit me. Like, yes, it's still a bit off, but we're so close. Like, we're close. It's far, but we're close. You know what I mean? But it's just a very big concern of mine. I hate seeing people who have finished the series spoil it for the people who are just picking up the series now with the show for the first time. And I've already discussed about, like, there's no gatekeeping in this fandom. Everyone's welcome. Everyone can come talk. That's great. But I'm just hoping that we can keep that a safe zone for them, so to speak, so they can come in, talk about what they think of the show so far, and jump on out. And just mark your comments. You can comment spoilers, just mark them clearly as spoilers. And then that second video is free reign for us, right? That's us free reign. That's when we get to go out the gate and talk about book 14 and how it relates to episode 1 of season 1 as much as we'd like. And I really look forward to that comment section. That will be what I have been waiting for as a fan for a decade. Like that is the real discussion that I'm so excited to have. So I'm confirming right here, right now, that every episode of the Wheel of Time will have 2 reviews. A probably next day or same day, depending on if I stay up every day till midnight to watch it as soon as it drops or whatever, review, and then a comprehensive look at its ramifications for Wheel of Time. And I'm very pumped to get those to you. And there's also people who, this is a final concern I want to address real quick before we wrap up this video, who have said, Daniel, you review books, right? You have no qualification to talk about a TV show. I've seen that, and I'll point out I have done some reviews for TV shows before to varying results, and I'll admit I don't feel as comfortable reviewing a show as I do a book. Flat out, I do not. I'm experienced in some aspects of filmmaking, kinda. I've certainly done some research into cinematography. I've certainly acted before in stuff, but that was mainly on stage. But I will be coming at these reviews as someone who is not ultra experienced in the filmmaking process. So please keep that in mind as well. I'm not going to try and hide that. If you'd like to see how I review shows, I don't think these are the best videos I've done, but I have reviewed Mandalorian, Witcher, and Season 8 of Game of Thrones. And my Season 8 of Game of Thrones reviews, still bitter about those, still regret those, because I gave so much leash and so much leeway to Game of Thrones and got burned so bad. I was so hopeful. I was so like, don't worry guys, it'll pan out. And I was wrong. But yeah, that's kind of also one I've learned a lesson from, where I know not to be too forgiving to a show. And then my Witcher one was also where I learned that people like to present their opinions for visual mediums much more so as fact than they do for books. When you review a book, usually most intelligent adults in the comments are very open to other people's interpretations. But when it comes to the visual medium, I guess because we are all literally looking at the same thing, there's less left up to interpretation. People are a lot more like, no, my opinion is right, you are wrong, which I find to be interesting. I mean, I get that there's less leeway, but there's still a lot of leeway for opinions in the TV shows, whatever. And then Mandalorian is also where I realized that I actually much prefer doing like episode by episode reviews. Doing a full season review for me, I just don't really enjoy. Even like episode 1, 2, 3 reviews, it just becomes too much. I like to actually review basically chapter by chapter of the season. I mean, that's how I look at it, right? It's a chapter by chapter all the way up to the end of the season, and that's how we'll be coming at Wheel of Time, as we discussed, except for every chapter you're getting 2 videos until the season is over. So yeah, the Wheel of Time content's gonna be cranked up here on the channel once the show's out. Big freaking surprise. Anyway, guys, I hope this video dissuaded some concerns and, you know, let you know that I'm aware of some shortcomings I will have coming into this to review the Wheel of Time show. I'm not gonna have the perfect review. I've never done a perfect review. No one has. And I'm going to come in with biases that I'm hoping to just separate out as much as I can and put on 2 different hats for 2 different reviews. But anyway, guys, like and subscribe if you have not already. Hit the Patreon if you want to support what I do here, and have a good one, y'all. Peace.